The topic of statins is not a new one. These cholesterol-lowering drugs can have some pretty dangerous side effects, and a healthy lifestyle is generally the best medicine.
Nothing close.
Well, now it seems that there's this push to get kids to be tested for their cholesterol because of the obesity epidemic in children. So what do you think about this idea? It sounds kind of extreme.
Well, it is, and all that's going to do is uncover a lot of kids that have cholesterol problems. We know they're going to have cholesterol problems. Look at them. They're overweight. They're getting type 2 diabetes. So are we going to solve the problem by getting more people on statin drugs or other kinds of treatments to try and solve that problem? Or are we going to do something about the high fructose corn syrup and the sugars and the diet, the lack of exercise and too much TV and all that? We need to go back and find out what the cause is and deal with that rather than do what we do so often in Big Pharma, which is find something that is a pre-disease like pre-hypertension or pre-osteoporosis.
Or osteopenia.
Yeah, exactly. And so why not just be smart about it instead of using tons of drugs? Because we treat everything with a drug, and when there are people who have these preconditions, there are 5 times as many. So for example, if somebody who has osteopenia, that's not abnormal bone density at all. It's within the range of normal on the lower side. But there are only about 10 million people who have osteoporosis. But if you include those that have this so-called osteopenia, now there are like 50 million people. So it takes the marketplace and makes it much bigger.
Well, not only that, if we label these kids as having dyslipidemia, they're going to feel like they have some disease, and the family's going to feel like they do, and then they're going to be put on the drugs. And
well, it's one thing leads to another, and we just need to be smart about it.
They have to get all these blood tests done. And
well, if it did something that was smart and it gave us new information, that'd be different. But when there's a part of the National Institutes of Health, the National Blood, Lung, and Heart part of the National Institutes of Health, put together an expert panel of which every single person had a strong affiliation with the pharmaceutical industry. And this group, by proclamation, not by scientific data, because there isn't any scientific data on this, but by proclamation that they published in the journal Pediatrics and got the American Academy of Pediatrics to agree to, they invented this problem and said, we need to start measuring this. And of course, what does that do?
So what were the requirements?
Well, they want to start them with kids that were under 8 years old and start doing blood tests, either fasting or not, up through the age of about 16. And I think that there are times when you wouldn't want to do that, but not in kids that are overweight to start with, that are consuming diets that are terrible, that aren't exercising. We need to be intelligent about who we screen and what we try to solve their problems with.
And then, like you said, there were conflicts of interest with the people on this board, and they owned, stocks in the laboratory.
Either stocks or they were being paid.
Medications.
They were making money from the pharmaceutical industry, so it was an outright conflict of interest. So I've seen railroad jobs before, but this is one that almost takes the cake. It's the kind of thing where the Institute of Medicine has come up to the plate and has said basically, if you have a conflict of interest, you shouldn't have a vote. You can give your information, but you can't vote. And it's the same problem at the FDA. About 20% or 25% of the people who are on committees that are voting on whether or not a drug is going to be passed have conflicts of interest because they work for who? The people that make the drug that they're representing.
Well, at least it's being recognized and brought to the forefront. So maybe eventually something will be done about it, because it's just really not fair.
Well, we all know that, but see, who runs this country? It's the pharmaceutical industry. It's corporate America. They're paying big dividends to people that are in Congress and filling their political coffers with a lot of money so that they can get reelected, and they forget about we the people. So they do what these big corporations suggest, and that's where the conflicts of interest come from. I mean, the FDA should never, ever allow somebody who's an expert in any field to have a vote. Educate, yes. Vote, no. Why? Do you think that anybody from a pharmaceutical industry that is on a committee that's voting is going to vote against their drug? You think that's ever going to happen?
But their opinions might be valuable.
Absolutely.
Something to be taken into consideration.
Exactly.
But not a vote.
Too many times we've seen this happen. So
I vote, no vote.
No vote for them. I do too. So let's keep in mind that we should deal with the underlying problems, not so much just with the symptoms. When it comes to making a new issue out of cholesterol in kids that are overweight and are consuming a diet that's terrible, we're on the wrong track. We need to get back on track, get back to lifestyle, and people